Well, for the last few months, we've been out traveling in this new to us Class A motorhome. It's a 2003 Winnebago Adventure. It's a 34-foot Class A, and we just really wanted to get a feel for what it was like to travel in this rig and how it really handles the road as well. And I think we did a pretty good test through snow, wind, rain, you know, down in the desert in the Southwest, and even spent some time in Mexico. And for the most part, it's handled those situations pretty well on the road. The driving experience has been pretty good. It does have a rear track bar installed, which, you know, helps minimize the tail wag that you can sometimes get when a big truck blows by you or you get a side wind that hits you. But I have noticed some swaying back and forth, especially in the front end. And I also noticed that there are some bushings on the rear anti-sway bar that's already installed that I'll show you that really need to be replaced. I picked up this really big new, look at this thing. It's a big new front anti-sway bar from SUPERSTEER. It's hard to even lift right here, but here it is. Look at that guy. Oh, don't want to destroy anything. We're gonna get that installed here on the front, and I'm hoping to see some big improvements there, you know, once we get out on the road and test it. So let's get started with the rear. I'll take care of those issues there, and then we'll move on up here to the front and get this front sway bar installed. Now, in a perfect world, I'd be laying on a nice paved surface, but I'm not. I'm back in the gravel, crushed rock, working under the rig. So let's get this bushing off and get the new one on. Now, I went ahead and blasted these with some penetrating oil a couple days ago, so hopefully they'll just come right out. I'm gonna loosen them up here. Is that working? Okay. Well, before I completely remove the bracket, I'm gonna go ahead and tie it up and secure it with this just piece of cable tie wire stuff, so that'll keep it supported and make it a lot easier to put back. It won't flop down, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that first. That should be good. That's one side. I have to take these bolts out. Now, I got replacement bolts for these, so won't really need those anymore. Yeah, look at this. It's just worn down. Now, this isn't the kind that's open, so I'm going to have to cut that off. Cut one off, cut the other one. There we go. One down. Wow, this is terrible. And here's the other one. This one is the first one we looked at. Pretty bad shape. Now, this impact wrench sure makes this job a lot easier. The kit for the new bushings actually comes with some grease, so that's good. I'm gonna use some and liberally apply it here to the inside here, inside of the bushing. I don't know if the other one actually had any grease or not, but definitely the right thing to do here. It's a little messy, but it's worth it. It's going to give it a little bit of lube to have a little movement in there when it's all tightened down, when the RV flexes and all that stuff. So here we go. Maybe a little bit more, leave enough for the second one. That should do it. All right. So this guy has a nice little cut in here, so I can just slide it right over like that. And then we have our bracket, which is going to go on there. And then I can go ahead and bolt it down with the new bolts. Now I'm going to go ahead and also put some, just a teeny bit of Loctite on that. Just a little dab of Loctite on here. Oop. Get that started. We'll do the same here on the bottom one. Just a teeny bit. This should be good. All right, working on the second bushing now. Got it all lubed up and it's gonna fit right in there nicely. So now we'll slip this on like that. Put the bracket on. A dab of Loctite on there. I'm just gonna get these a little snug and then I'll torque it down. I believe it's like 66 foot-pounds is the torque for all of this stuff. Should be good. All right, well the new bushings look really good. Look at this. This thing is toast. This is the worst of the two ones I took out. So now the kit also came with some additional bushings for the end link assembly. You know, those pieces that hang down from the frame of the RV, and I didn't replace those because I'd have to just get those out, and it looked like it was going to be more work than I wanted to take on right now, and I think they're probably fine. Plus the bolts at the top looked on one side to be a little difficult to get to because there's brake line and stuff right there, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave it for now. What I did do is replace the washers on the bottom. There's a couple washers in there, little spacer washers, and I took out the old ones. They're a little rusty, and I put in some new ones, and I also put some anti-seize on the bolt that goes in there. I'm going to call it good for now here on the rear. It should make a big difference just replacing those bushings. So I'm going to head up front now and we'll get to work on the front anti-sway bar. Well, you might be wondering why I'm going with this blue SUPERSTEER front anti-sway bar instead of, say, a Hellwig or a Roadmaster upgrade. The reason is that I just happened to run across this and it seemed like a really good option. I was researching the rear track bar that was installed. It's from SUPERSTEER, and you know, I was looking at some of their other stuff, and I saw that they had this new front anti-sway bar that was really thick. It was like 1 3/4 thick, and I think the stock ones right now are like 1 1/2 or 1 5/8. So it's going to be a bit thicker diameter than the other ones. Also, one thing I liked about this is that it's going to fit the existing mounting points for the stock setup. So I don't have to mount any additional brackets or plates or anything for the end links, which is typically the case in some of these other kits. Actually, it comes with new end links, and these are super fat, much heavier duty than the other ones, and they mount to the existing mounting points that the other end links mount to. So I'm hoping it's going to be a much easier install all around, and we'll find out. But what I've already done is taken it out of the box. I did kind of a dry fit for all of the hardware, make sure I had everything, and kind of had a good idea of where everything was gonna go. time to roll under and get a little dirty, and we'll get the other one off first. And I'll show you a comparison between the stock one and this new one. This one's going to be a little bit beefier. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm basically going to just follow the instructions that came with the new front sway bar for removal and installation. One thing I will say is that all of the bolts on the stock anti-sway bar are 15 millimeter, while the new one, everything is a 3/4 inch. So just an FYI there. So I'm going to start by just kind of loosening up everything, and the most of them I think I can get with the pneumatic wrench. On these, the top ones are a little bit more challenging. The top bolt here on the end link, I got to get back behind here, so I'll use a standard socket and a wrench behind it. There's some stuff in the way, so I got to be a little bit more careful with that. Use this little thing again here to just to hold the bar in place so it doesn't drop. Do the rest by hand. There it is. There's the old guy. Let's set it right next to each other. Well, with these two bars side by side, you can definitely tell the difference in thickness. And obviously it's blue, but it's the new one is also heat treated, so that should give it some more strength. And it's 1 3/4 inches. So the original one, stock one, is like 1 1/2 or 1 5/8. I can't remember which one, but yeah, it's a big difference that a 1/4 inch makes. If we look at the end link on the stock one, this is it here, and look at the difference between that and the end links on this new bar. That thing is solid, more than twice as thick. Basically, we're going to put it on in reverse order. We're going to install the end links first. So right now I'm just going to apply the grease to the bushing. Alright, well, now borrowing a tip from the SUPERSTEER folks, I'm going to use a strap here to hold the bar in place while I mount it, because it's a little heavy. There's the hole. There it is. Alright, almost there. Just gotta get this sucker lined up and attached. Washer on. Just get these bolts tightened down, torqued, and it should be done. Well, I just took the rig out for a little drive just to test out the new front sway bar, make sure everything's all intact. I stopped about halfway through just to double check things, and everything was still in place. In fact, the sway bar is nice and centered, so just driving it and letting it move around was a good thing. It definitely was an improved ride over the previous stock sway bar, especially on those banking turns. I could totally tell the difference. It's really a considerable difference. One last thing I need to take care of though is to do a final torque on all the bolts and everything. Torque them back down to what they were before, which is a 66 foot-pounds. And that's the spec that I'm aware of for the front stock sway bar. It didn't really specify what it was supposed to be in the instructions for this kit, but I'm going to set them to 66 and call it good. Now the last thing I'll do to finish up this whole suspension upgrade is to install some front and rear airbags, but that's going to have to wait for another video, so stick around for that. Right now it's starting to rain and I'm going to head inside, but I'd love to hear what you've done in your RVs to firm up your suspension, especially on these Class A's, and what's worked, what hasn't worked, and just share it with all of us here. And I hope this video helped you out, gave you some ideas for things you could do as well. So take care. I'll see you later.